Hello and welcome to another Bushwhacker review. Today we are going to be taking a look at NASCAR Authentics Wave 11 for 2018. And people just seem to be begging and begging and begging and begging and begging and begging for another NASCAR Authentics video for the last few months. So I'm definitely going to go back and review at least the last couple waves, at least like 11, 10, 9. I'm not going to go back to all the waves I skipped because a couple of those waves in the middle there is exactly why I stopped doing these videos. Because they just got really, really bad, or they were just very boring waves in the middle. Like, I also got one wave where I had like a car that was so bad QC that it just kind of ruined everything. Got a car that like, it was Boyer's Haas car from like wave 6 or whatever it was. That was like the body was all warped, the decals were all messed up. It was one of the worst cars I've ever gotten. I also will say that there's no way in hell am I reviewing, you know, wave 12 here on the crappy mold. I only bought a couple of these cars. This one I had to buy just because how hilarious this is that they made every single car the liquid color chase piece. I guess the crappy factory can't even do chase pieces right, but as you can see, this is a liquid color car. So, great work, crappy factory. I do want to point out how hilariously large Erik Jones' name on top of his name rail is. Like, that is huge. I can't imagine the real car was that big. But there you can see the whole Wave 12 if you want to see that, and if you want to get up any specific cars. I pretty much only bought the Denny Hamlin FedEx Cares and the Stewart Haas Racing Fan Club car. Might buy the Busch Beans car just because how much I like that car, but not a good wave and definitely not reviewing the full wave. But anyways, why don't we just focus on Wave 11 right now, which is definitely one of my favorite waves of the year. Fantastic cars, a bunch of cars I bought the 124 of. Just, you know, great wave all around, minus about 2 cars. Obviously nothing changed with the packaging, so why don't we just hop right into the video and get to Kevin Harvick's Jimmy John's All-Star Race Twin Diecast. Definitely a very strange choice. I guess they just wanted the All-Star win, but, you know, Harvick's had a bunch of these Jimmy John's race wins this year, and they're all pretty much equally boring. Never been a fan of this Jimmy John's car, and, you know, adding a little dirt is not going to change that, because this wasn't a very dirty or beat-up or damaged race win. It's funny that they would pick the one car that everyone's going to, you know, dump on them for being inaccurate, because it doesn't have, you know, the All-Star race kind of Xfinity spoiler. But I'm sure some Harvick fans will be excited to pick up this car, but this car didn't really sell well, and there's still a bunch of them laying around because, you know, it is just a kind of clean Kevin Harvick Jimmy John's win. But at least the 2019 Jimmy John's car has some sort of like spikes or scallops or whatever, but Jimmy John's cars have just never excited me. They're always just black and white, kind of plain, simple designs, and just they've never done anything for me, but whatever. Next up, we got another race twin. We got Martin Truex Jr.'s Auto Club Race Twin. And as you can see, they finally did that thing that I was joking about earlier in the year, where they, you know, can't put 5 energy on a 164, so they just blank out the whole quarter panel. And that just looks awful. They did the same thing in Wave 12 on the Patriotic NRA car or whatever, but this is just not good. Not good by any means. At least put something there. Just put tracker boats on the quarter panel or something. I don't know. It's not going to be accurate, but it'll look better than a big blank spot. You can see also back here he did shred the fender, so it's got the blacked out fender on top of the already black car. So that's kind of funny. But definitely not my cup of tea here. Big blank spots on cars is definitely not what I want. So yeah, there's that. So let's get those 2 kind of boring cars out of the way. Those are the things I don't like out of this wave. And now let's focus on the stuff that I do like out of this wave. Next up, we've got William Byron's Hertz Chevy for Hendrick Motorsports. This is the Hertz paint scheme that he actually raced in the All-Star race. And then they decided, like, we don't want a real paint scheme. We're just going to make the car solid yellow with a black cheat trim. So you got some good quality control there. Little mark on the Hertz. That logo's all screwed up next to that A-post thing. But it's definitely really not a bad paint scheme. It's got the yellow, it's got black, it's got a little bit of a decent design. Kind of simple, but it's honestly pretty similar to that Lumar Window Films Bowman paint scheme. But definitely not a bad car at all. I definitely would rather prefer this car over that, you know, solid yellow car they used later in the year. Which they didn't actually make in 2018, but they are going to make in 2019, I believe. Unless it DNPs. But definitely not a bad choice, and definitely cool to have Hertz back in NASCAR again. I mean, I would prefer they stayed with Penske than Hendrick, but whatever. Not bad choice at all. Next up, we've got Chase Elliott's Little Caesars Mountain Dew car. I have reviewed the 124 scale of this car, so check that out if you want a more detailed review. Basically only bought the car because it goes with the other 2 Mountain Dew cars. And, you know, who doesn't love Little Caesars, as I've said before. Well, I got a couple comments like, I hate Little Caesars, but most people love Little Caesars. Definitely glad to see this in Authentics. Got a nice paint chip right there. I believe they did release all 3 of the Mountain Dew cars in Authentics, both the regular, the Baja Blast, and this. So, that's cool. You can get the whole set of all 3 of them in Authentics as well. Which I'm pretty sure they're going to release like every Chase Elliott car they can release in Authentics. Because they just released, you know, the top 10 best-selling diecast, and like 8 of them were Chase Elliott cars. All of them were Hendrick, except for like Larson, I think, or maybe Harvick. I don't know. Anyways, next up we got one of my favorite cars of the wave. We got Kasey Kane's FDNY Foundation DNP car. Definitely a very, very nice choice. Glad to see this car pop into Authentics. If you remember, I bought Michael McDowell's last year, and I did pre-order Kasey Kane's this year. I do think it's kind of funny that Michael McDowell can get a diecast made that Kasey Kain can't. But I think I do like Michael McDowell's paint scheme better, but this is still definitely a nice looking car. Still has all the things to expect from the FDNY cars. Does still have the keep back 200 feet and everything. I'm sure this car is going to be one of the most popular cars of the wave. Kasey Kain is pretty popular, and this was a full DNP car. Got some more chips and stuff on the B-post. Like, that crappy wave mold is pretty bad on the quality, but so have been all the rest of the waves this year. Pretty much half the waves I've gotten this year have had like quality control issues, but whatever. Definitely a very, very nice car, and definitely cool to see in Authentics. Good work, Lionel, on choosing that one. Now let's get to the last 4 cars. First up, we've got Kyle Larson's McDonald's Chevy for Ganassi Racing. I reviewed the 124 scale of this car as well, if you want to see a more detailed review of that. This was the car, of course, he raced at Bristol in the spring, battling Kyle Busch in the Skittles car. Not a bad paint scheme, looks quite nice. Would have been nice if we got... Did we get McMurray's in Authentics at all? The waves kind of blurred together at this point, so I don't even remember if we ever got McMurray's McDonald's car to have the set of them. But I think we might have in like wave like 7. I don't know. Definitely not bad paint scheme at all. I think I said in the video, like I said, I would change a few things, like the fact that this yellow line just kind of ends at the 2 but doesn't continue down to where the black curves down. But whatever, not a bad paint scheme at all. Hopefully we see McDonald's sponsor Larson now that DC Solar is gone. But I kind of hope that they end up going to Larson and choosing a lot more races with him, because with Larson we can get diecast made, with McMurray we really couldn't. Next up we got another DNP car. We got Kyle Busch's M&M's Patriotic car, the one he won the Coca-Cola 600 in. I don't know if this even counts as a DNP car, because they never really offered it, but they did for one day. Like the week, literally like the Monday after the Coke 600, they put up a clean version, this clean version of the car, and then they immediately took it back down. Because I guess they're just like, I'll just make the Coca-Cola 600 race win. So this is the only way to get a clean one if you really want a clean one. I have reviewed the 124 scale of the Coca-Cola 600 raced version. But said I've always loved this paint scheme. Just the regular classic M&M's design, but with the red, white, and blue colors and the, you know, patriotic characters on the back. Just a great paint scheme all around, and as you know, I do love M&M's cars, so I will always pick up M&M's cars. Definitely not a bad choice at all. And last but not least, we've got, of course, our 2 Pennzoil cars. We've got Ryan Blaney's Menards Pennzoil Ford for Team Penske. The paint scheme that he won the Roval in. The Roval Racer would be a fantastic car. Don't know why I stuttered over that, but that'd be a great car for Authentics later down the road. That one had a lot of damage, had the emoji and everything, so that would be a cool car to see in Authentics. The 164 scale really doesn't capture the Menards yellow very well on the rims, because they just kind of paint over black rims. They're still there, but they just do not look as good as most of the rims do on the 124 and everything. I have reviewed the 124 scale of this car, of course, being a Pennzoil car, so you can check out that video if you want a more detailed view, as I've said a few times in this video. Good choice all around. And finally, we've got Joey Logano's Shell Pennzoil Talladega win from 2018 for Team Penske. Very, very nice to see this car in Authentics. As I said in the 124 scale review, of course, this is the version of the car that has Auto Trader in the quarter panel, which is not produced otherwise. I really hope they give us his Homestead raced version, or even the Martinsville in Authentics, because both of those had tons of good damage and everything, so they would be cool Authentics releases. In the first wave of 2019, we are finally getting his Steve Park Darlington throwback. I knew that was going to be in Authentics the entire time. That's why I was never really too worried when it got canceled and, you know, the internet was raising hell. Everyone 64 scale collector in the world was crying over that one, which it was nice to see everyone that worried over a Logano car. But I'll be definitely picking up that wave. And, well, eventually that 124 scale, the throwback, is going to come out in probably the next few weeks. So whenever that comes out, I will, of course, be reviewing that car. But anyways, this is definitely a fantastic release. Definitely cool to see this car. I mean, I'm sure some people just skip it because it's like, oh, it's just the scale-up car again. But it's got tons of confetti, has the Auto Trader quarter panels. This does have a lot more going for it than that Jimmy John's race one back there. But that is that. Like I said, this is definitely one of my favorite waves. This is just a beautiful wave. It's got tons of great cars, tons of colorful cars, different teams, everything. So beyond the two, other raced ones in the back here, I pretty much love this wave solidly. Do not like those at all, but whatever. If you want this wave, it is still pretty much in stores right now as of recording this video. Some stores are getting Wave 12, which I'm definitely a little bit worried about Wave 12 peg warming and holding up the pegs, because a lot of people seem to really hate that wave. Heck, when I found that wave, it was literally because somebody literally took it off the pegs, took a picture of all of them on the shelf below, and then just left them there. It's like they were looking through them and then be like, I don't want this wave, and then left. Like I said, I only got a few out of that wave, so I don't expect that to be very popular. I mean, everyone probably saw original Big Bry's crazy rant on that wave, because he went off on that wave in Lionel. But anyways, I think that's pretty much all there is to say. This has been a review of NASCAR Authentics Wave 11 for 2018. Hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.